Thank you so much for joining the City of Richmond and Grid Alternatives for the No-Cost Solar for Qualifying Richmond Homes workshop. We're really excited you're able to join us virtually today. We usually have these in person, but due to the circumstances, we're hosting it virtually this year. My name is Shivali. I'm from the City of Richmond. I work in the Economic Development Department in Environmental and Health Initiatives, and I will be presenting the City of Richmond slides today. And then from Grid Alternatives, we have Martine Cortez and Juan Bernal presenting about GRID's program. So the full video of the presentation will be posted on richmondenvironment.org within a week of the workshop if you would like to refer back to the presentation. With that, I'll get started and tell you a little bit about the partnership between Grid Alternatives and the City of Richmond. So Grid Alternatives is a nonprofit organization and licensed solar contractor. The city began our formal partnership with Grid Alternatives in 2015. And this no-cost solar program is funded through three main funding sources: the State Cap and Trade Fund, the State of California Energy Fund, and the City of Richmond. And this program has also been an implementing action of our city's climate action plan, which was passed in 2016, as well as our general plan energy and climate change element. So this program is part of the council and community-led initiative to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions in the City of Richmond. So since 2007, when Grid first started installing solar in Richmond, there have been around 430 Richmond homes that have received solar. With our current contract, by 2022, there will be 120 more installations in Richmond. The 421 installations that have already happened are equivalent to over $9 million in lifetime savings for residents and 17,000 plus tons of emissions prevented. To see more data on renewable energy in Richmond, you can go to transparentrichmond.org, and you'll be able to explore data from many departments, including environment and health, and you can delve a little deeper into what we're doing around solar energy and renewable energy in general. Lastly, I just wanted to note that our relationship with Grid is really strong, and we've had 7 workshops of this type over the last 5 years, and we're really excited to be working with them. So since some of you may not qualify for this program, there are additional resources through the city that you can access at www.richmondenvironment.org. You can see some of them listed here. And you can also sign up for our newsletter at ci.richmond.ca.us/list.aspx, and we'll send you information about workshops, programs, and other things that will hopefully be beneficial to Richmond residents like yourself. With that, I'll pass it over to Juan and Martine to tell us more about the no-cost solar program for Richmond residents.
All right, thanks, Shivali, and good evening, everybody. Again, my name is Martine Cortez, pronouns he, him. I'm an outreach coordinator at Grid Alternatives Bay Area, and thank you for tuning into our presentation. So I'll be presenting in English while my colleague Juan will be translating it in Spanish, okay? So during this presentation, we will address these following questions. So, who is Grid Alternatives? How this is funded? How solar works? How much you'll save? Do you qualify? How do you apply? And the questions that you'll have. Okay, let's get started. So who is Grid? So Grid Alternatives is America's largest nonprofit solar installer, and our mission is to make renewable energy technology accessible to underserved communities. What we envision is a transition to clean, renewable energy that includes everyone, right? That's the purpose of our solar program. Next, I want to share a piece of one of Grid's videos that will, hopefully capture some of the work that we do, okay?
We hatched this crazy idea that we were going to install solar for low-income folks. In 2004, we did 2 installations the whole year. We thought we were a smashing success. And what happened after that was those 2 people told their cousin and their neighbor down the street and said, you know what, solar's for us too. We can get solar. And those 10 people that we twisted their arms into volunteering with us that first time, they told 10 people who told 10 people who told 10 people.
As you saw in the video, our success is largely tied to a community effort, right? The name of our solar program is Energy for All and has 2 components. So it helps make solar accessible to families who need the energy savings, and at the same time provides hands-on solar installation experience to our volunteers and job trainees. Okay, so ultimately what we strive for is what we call our triple bottom line. So people, help reduce the energy costs of our clients. Planet, help reduce pollution with solar technology. And employment, right? Helping jumpstart folks into a meaningful career. Like Shivali mentioned earlier, we've installed about 430 projects in the city of Richmond alone since 2007. And throughout the larger Bay Area, we've installed about 1,779 projects and counting. And Grid has offices in Northern, Central, and Southern California as well. We expand wider to cover areas like the state of Colorado, Washington, D.C., and travel communities across the United States. And, we also have offices in Nicaragua, Nepal, and Mexico to address critical energy needs with solar internationally as well. And in total, we have over 12,155 systems in California. So, these are older metrics, but this pretty much highlights the impact of grid alternatives. So you're probably wondering, how is this funded in California? Well, we access many funding sources to cover the entire cost of the solar installation for all our clients, okay? As a nonprofit, we apply to grants, we use local funding, like from the city of Richmond or Marin Clean Energy. We accept donations, and we have sponsored installations. We also take advantage of federal tax credits for solar using something called third-party ownership, and state funds that are available for solar installations using the DAC program. And we'll be talking more about these last 2 in more detail in the next slides, okay? So in more detail about state funds, Grid administers a program for the state of California called Disadvantaged Communities Single Family Solar Homes. It's a bit of a mouthful, so we'll call it DAC for short, okay? So, in short, this program helps fund our Energy for All program. So let's take a look at this map, okay? So these areas in red are designated by the state as disadvantaged communities, okay? And that's because, many factors such as higher pollution or, low income are more prevalent in these areas. And if your home is in one of these red areas, we can access state funds to help pay for your solar project. And as you can see, most of Richmond is in red, including neighboring cities like San Pablo as well, okay? So It's no secret that Chevron is a big polluter in Richmond, and as a result has, a large effect in the area, and it's part of the reason why, most residents will qualify for this program, right? So Shivali mentioned the cap and trade program, where Chevron basically pays a tax for polluting, and that goes into funding environmental programs like these to help you, okay? Also, a small portion of our PG&E bills go toward funding our program. So in a way, you're already paying for it, okay? Now, to help pay for your solar, we also partner with another solar company called Sunrun. What Sunrun does provide many benefits for your system, like 24/7 monitoring, maintenance, repairs, a 90% performance guarantee, and more for 25 years. Okay, and what Grid Alternatives does is we prepay the whole thing. So, as I mentioned before, there's a tax credit available for purchasing and owning solar. Okay, and this tax credit can only be used to pay off taxes for the year that you purchase solar. Okay, our status as a nonprofit prevents us from accessing that tax credit to pay for your solar system. Also, this tax credit would pretty much go to waste for most of our clients, because if you're low income, you may not owe a whole lot of taxes at the end of the year anyway, if any, right? Sunrun, on the other hand, is a company that does owe taxes and can actually access that tax credit on our behalf if they own the system, okay? So to the question, will you own your system? You won't. Sunrun will be the owner of the system, and that's in order to access that tax credit to help pay for your system, okay? So, by them owning that system, we're able to access a tax credit that we wouldn't have been able to otherwise, and allows us to stretch our dollars to further, help and serve more families with our program, okay? So Grid, what we do is we install and prepay for 25 years of power on your behalf. And, Sunrun, once they're the owners, they give some of that tax credit back to Grid. And then what happens is you will get all the benefits of solar, right? You'll own all the energy that the system produces and receive, free insurance, warranties, 24/7 monitoring, all those benefits that we mentioned before. And, Sunrun will maintain the system and make sure it keeps operating for 25 years at no cost to you, okay? So in the end, what's gonna happen is you're gonna sign 2 contracts, okay? One with Grid and one with Sunrun. So after 5 years into the agreement, you do have the option to purchase and own the system, but most of the homeowners that we work with, they choose not to, just because we already paid for 25 years, okay? And is there a warranty? Yes. So you get a 10-year labor warranty offered by Grid. You get a 10 to 25-year equipment warranty from the manufacturers, and also 25-year maintenance and warranties by Sunrun. Okay. So now what we're gonna get into is how solar works. Okay. So this picture, I think it's a really good picture to explain the basics of solar. So basically, you got the solar panels on your roof. They collect sunlight and what happens is that energy gets transferred to this inverter box here. And what that inverter box does is it converts that solar energy into electricity that can go to power everything in your house, okay? It goes directly to your TV, your washer, your lights, your toaster, your blender, anything that's plugged in, okay? And your solar production depends on the time of day and the weather, okay? So, a clear sunny day is ideal for solar, and that's pretty much when you're going to be able to produce the most. When it's cloudy or rainy, the panels will produce less because, clouds are blocking the sun, right? And at nighttime, you won't produce anything because there's no sun. And during those times when your system isn't able to produce enough energy to power the needs of your home, what's going to happen is you're going to be buying electricity from PG&E, sort of like you do now, right? You're going to be connected to the power lines. So you'll be able to get electricity from them when solar isn't enough to cover your needs, right? And, yeah, during that time, you'll be buying electricity. But what happens also is that when you have energy left over, where your panels produce more energy than your home needs, what's going to happen is you're also going to be selling that back to PG&E in the form of credits, okay? And that's part of how you're able to save by going solar. And what this is called is net metering, okay? So the more energy you produce and that you don't use, the more credits you'll have to use to pay off any electricity costs that you do have, right? Help cover the cost of you actually buying electricity when you need it. So the way that your bill changes as well, okay? Instead of being charged monthly, you'll be charged annually, okay? Essentially, the bill for solar, the bill at the end of the year, what it is how much solar you produce minus how much electricity you buy, okay? The difference between those two is how much you owe to PG&E at the end of the year, okay? And, part of the reason you're charged annually is because your solar production looks different depending on the seasons, right? We talked earlier about how the time of day and the weather can affect your solar production. So as you can see in the chart, your electrical expenses will be relatively higher in the winter months, okay? This is because the weather is gloomier, more cloudy, and the days are shorter, okay? However, during the summer months, like in June, there are sunnier days, and the days are also much longer. Like if you look outside tonight, you'll see that we still have sun and, about 9 p.m., okay? And usually, that's, as we mentioned, that's the most ideal thing for solar. So the idea is that you'll produce so much energy during this time that you can offset your electrical expenses from the other months with your credits, okay? And the next thing is time of use, okay? So for anyone who switches over to solar, they get moved to a new rate plan called time of use. And basically what this means is that energy is more expensive between 4 and 9 p.m., okay? It's pretty much almost double. And what this means is that even though you have solar, you still want to be on that savings mindset, okay? You know, just because you have solar, you know, it doesn't mean that you have like unlimited technology, okay? Or sorry, unlimited energy. And the idea is you want to be mindful of how much energy you use between 4 and 9 p.m., okay? There are strategies that you can use, such as running the dishwasher, the dryer, you know, before or after these times, okay? You know, other things, unplugging cords that don't need to be plugged in, not leaving the lights on when no one's in the room. And the idea is that you don't want to be using more electricity than your solar can give you during these times, right? Because we talked about what happens when your solar isn't enough. You're going to start buying electricity, okay? And it's going to cost more. However, on the flip side of that coin, if you're able to, you know, have extra energy left over during this time, what's going to happen is that you can sell that energy back to PG&E at that higher rate as well, okay? Just like they're charging you more during this time, what's going to happen is you can also sell it to them at that higher rate as well and earn more credits, okay? Just little tips. So, how much will you save? Okay, so if you qualify from our program, you know, from day one, you'll see savings of 60 to 90%, okay? So right now, what's happening is you're paying everything to PG&E. You know, they're charging you for generation of the electricity, for delivery of it, and other things, right? Like, you know, maintaining their power lines, things like that. Like if you look into your bill, you can see all those charges. But when you go solar with grid, what happens is you're saving, right? Because you have panels on your roof that are generating free energy for you. And since, you know, it's already at your house, you know, there's no delivery charge, right? And your bill may not go away, but, you know, you're still going to have your gas bill, and you're going to have to pay for, you know, any electricity that you do have to buy, right? That isn't covered by solar. But generally, the savings are big, okay? It does make a difference. And your cost in all of this is $0, okay? That's the intention of our program. So we don't ask for your credit score. There's no payments before, during, or after. You know, no liens on the home and no hidden costs, okay? So what a lien is, for folks who are unsure of it, it's basically a legal way for contractors to recover any costs, you know, in case, let's say they don't get paid for their work, right? As an example, maybe a plumbing job or roof work, right? But it won't really be applicable in this place because we prepay everything, okay? Now, do you qualify? So to participate in our program, you have to meet all these requirements, okay? This is not something that, you know, a lot of folks think, oh, it's too good to be true, but the fact is you do have to qualify in order to get these benefits, okay? So first one is, you know, that you own and live in a home, okay? You know, renting someone else's home and, you know, putting the system on doesn't work, okay? You have to be the owner and you have to be living in there. You have to meet below these income limits, okay? So for example, a family of 4, right, needs to be making at or below $65,500 a year. Okay. Specifically, what we look at is line 7B of your 2019 1040 form, and it's basically where it says total income. Okay. Also, you need to be in the red areas on the map that we looked at before. Okay, in order to receive those funds from the state. You need a good roof, right? So you need to have a roof that can basically handle the weight of the system, and with that we look at age and material. Okay. Also, you need to have the space, right? We need to be able to save you 60 to 90%. Okay. We need to be able to put the amount of panels that you need on your roof. And also we look at shading. Okay. If there's too much shade on the roof where the panels will go, then it would reduce the amount of energy that you can produce, and it wouldn't really be a good project. Okay. But if you meet these qualifications, our program is no cost to you. And the city also provides funds for, re-roof projects, and for that you do have to meet other requirements. Okay. So, the city provides partial funding for re-roofs, right? This is, limited funding. So, if you have the chance, definitely consider it. They also offer loan programs to assist with the gap costs of re-roofs. Okay. So additionally, we also partner with the city of Richmond with some clean mobility services, where qualifying residents can receive a charger for an electric car if they currently have one, or also will be getting one in the future. Okay. So you don't need to have one right now, but the idea is having that already in your home can hopefully, encourage you to consider getting an EV. Okay. And additionally, we can help by connecting you with other state-funded and regional clean mobility programs. There's some programs such as Clean Cars for All. You can check that out on our website as well, but you can receive a rebate or a grant towards getting an electric vehicle, right? If you qualify. Other programs, for charging equipment, for electric bikes, it's pretty cool, and transit vouchers if you don't want to be using a car. Okay. And generally for these programs, what we offer is education and support with applications. Okay. And really, the idea is to spend less on transportation costs and, reduce pollution in our neighborhoods. And, these programs are available independently of solar, right? If you don't qualify for solar, right, you still have the option to check out these programs, okay? But the ideal scenario is having both, okay? So getting an electric vehicle and to be able to charge it at home with solar technology, okay? If folks are able to get an EV while we are still designing your solar system, what we can do is we can increase the system size too to help cover the cost of you charging your car at home. Okay, that's pretty sweet. It's a pretty good deal. And it would all be free. Okay. And just, an example calculation shows that if we're able to double the system size, we're able to triple the savings. Okay. And it's because, gasoline for your car is pretty expensive. Okay. If you're able to substitute that with electricity, which in this hand would be free if we're able to cover that with the solar system, then this will lead to bigger savings. Okay. So, what should you expect from our process? Okay. So, first and foremost, if you want to apply to our program, what's going to happen is you're going to be assigned an outreach coordinator, and like myself, and we'll be there every step of the way. Okay. Also, we're pretty conscious about the pandemic, and every one of these steps will be done without any physical contact. Okay, for your safety and the safety of our staff. That means there's going to be a lot of talking on the phone, having meetings through Zoom, sort of like this. And also, we can even do paperwork collection over mail as well, right? Whatever is the most convenient thing for you. And basically, right, the first step is, getting the application in, right? You would meet with an outreach coordinator before, talk about your eligibility, right? On that point, we would, talk about your qualifications and whether we can move forward with an application and fill out your paperwork, okay? And collect any needed documents. After that's submitted and approved, what's going to happen is what we can do is we'll schedule a site visit at your home, right? Someone from our construction team will go out to check out your home, take a look at the roof, the shading, all that, to see if it would be a good project for solar, okay? And if it is, what's going to happen is our team will start designing your solar system, and we will walk you through a contract, okay? Again, it can be done like this through Zoom, over the phone, do everything by mail, whatever is most convenient for you, okay? Next, we'll schedule an installation, and this will be, according to your schedule as well, right? Want to be mindful of that. And these can take, 1 to 2 days, just depending on how big the system is. For smaller ones, it can usually be done within a day. For bigger ones, usually 2 days. And yeah, for this, you can also expect, no physical contact, right? Staff, what we're going to do is we're going to bring our own lunch. We're going to bring porta potties, and that way we don't have to go inside your house at all, okay? Just in light of the pandemic. After the installation, what needs to happen next is we need to have the system inspected by the city and by PG&E in order to turn it on, okay? So what that means is, an inspector is going to come to the house and check it out, okay? If the system passes, what happens next is we apply with PG&E to have your system turned on, okay? And after it's turned on, immediately you start saving, okay? And, the timeline, right, we usually, what we give as an expectation is about 4 to 12 months, right? It can be sometimes a little quicker than that, and sometimes it can take just about the year. And the reason for that is it's on a case-by-case basis. It depends on, let's say, how long it takes folks to gather the documents that they need, or how long it takes for the city or the inspectors to come out to the house and inspect the system, okay? All these things can, sometimes they can make it take longer, but sometimes things line up just right, and ends up being a quicker process, okay? And your application is good for up to a year, to make sure that, you don't have to start over just because, things were taking too long, okay? So now what we want to share is actually some video testimonials of our clients, okay? I think showing this will help you all, see like, the end result of the, the impact that solar has had on these clients and hopefully inform your decision to move forward, okay?
Hola, buenas tardes. Soy un miembro de una familia que afortunadamente está beneficiando de la gran compañía Grid Alternatives. Grid Alternatives y sus paneles solares no solo los ahorran dinero, pero también los ha dado tranquilidad de espíritu, sabiendo que utilizamos la energía natural del sol para los usos diarios de electricidad en la casa. Les agradecemos mucho a Grid Alternatives por la contribución a nuestra familia. Ojalá podrán contribuir a nuestra comunidad de Richmond, California. Gracias.
Hello, my name is Mrs. Dennis. I've been a Richmond resident since 1955. 2 years ago, I got panels from Grid Alternatives for free. Thank God for free. My first bill was only $6. $6. The money I saved on electric bill has helped me pay for my medicine, my medical, and other bills.
Yeah, me as a newer employee, it's always nice to see that, see how clients talk about Grid Alternatives. It really puts things into perspective and shows that, we really are making a difference with our program, So the next steps from here would be setting up a one-on-one appointment, with no physical contact with Grid staff, okay? We have staff that speaks English, Spanish, and Cantonese. And if you want to set something up, set up an appointment, you can call us at this number provided, or you can also visit our website, okay? And also this link right here with the City of Richmond as well. And what you can also do is you can refer a friend or neighbor. Not everyone was able to tune in, and if you can share this information, that'd be great for us, and I think would ultimately benefit them if they qualify, okay? So we do have a referral program where basically if you refer someone to us that ends up getting solar, you can get $200 per person, okay? It's pretty sweet. You're getting paid to help your friends and family out, and what we want to do is we want to invest this money into our clients instead of, let's say, just paying to make one huge advertisement. We created this to benefit our clients, and you can refer people even if you don't qualify for our program, okay? So folks who don't qualify, you can still participate by sharing this information and also getting paid for it, okay? Okay, we're reaching the end of our presentation. The next part will be Q&A, where we'll be able to address any questions that you have that you might have already put in the Q&A function within Zoom. Thank you for joining us. Thanks for tuning in, guys. And with that, I'll pass it on over to Juan, who's going to be moderating the Q&A session. Okay.
Hola, buenas tardes. Thank you, Martin. So yes, we will spend some time going over questions. So the first question, so solar panels collect energy. It does go into the inverter, and then the energy goes to the battery or the PG&E meter. When do I start selling to PG&E? When the battery is full. So la pregunta es, ¿cómo trabaja la energía solar? ¿Primero llega a mi casa o llega a una batería o llega a PG&E? ¿Cuándo empiezo a vender a PG&E? Cuando mi batería es llena. So a very good question. There's a couple of different parts to this. So all of our systems are grid tied. Unfortunately, there is no battery that comes with our systems. And what happens is the energy first goes through the inverter, then it goes to your house. If you're not using that much energy in your house and there's excess energy being produced, then it goes back to PG&E. So basically you start selling these credits back to PG&E when you use less than what your panels are producing. So la pregunta otra vez, ¿cuándo empiezo a vender mi energía a PG&E? So esos básicamente son créditos. Cuando sus paneles producen energía y usted está usando menos energía de lo que sus paneles están produciendo, en ese punto es cuando empieza a vender los créditos a PG&E. Desafortunadamente, nuestros sistemas no tienen batería, no son incluidos con nuestro programa. So next question, who monitors and how much I receive from PG&E and how much do I sell for PG&E? So otra pregunta es, ¿quién monitorea lo que vendo o lo que puedo vender a PG&E? So yeah, this is a good question. So basically, you can monitor the way there's a little box that you can go outside your home and you can see it. You can also set up an account online where you can see at any point during the day, during the night, what your panels are producing. And again, it's only when you're using less energy than what your panels are producing, that's when you sell these credits. But I just want to make it clear, you're never going to get any money or payment from PG&E. It's all only credits. So, ¿cuándo empiezo a recibir o quién monitorea la energía que vendo a PG&E? So, básicamente, hay diferentes formas de que puede monitorear su sistema. Hay una caja afuera que puede mirar cómo su sistema está trabajando. También puede crear una cuenta en la red. Hay una opción en esas cuentas donde puede accesarla cuando usted quiera. Usted puede mirar cuánto está produciendo su sistema y cuánto está usando usted. Esto es una cuenta que puede crear, que viene con parte de la instalación. Le creamos una cuenta donde puede mirar todo eso. Y algo que quiero aclarar es que en ningún momento hay un cambio de dinero de PG&E a usted. Todo es créditos. So, al fin de año, cuando tiene créditos, esos se aplican a su bill del fin de año para reducir su costo de bill. Pero no hay ningún tipo de pago de PG&E para usted. Nomás todos son créditos. So next question, what monthly charge should I expect from PG&E other than the usage? So, ¿qué tipo de cargo puedo esperar de PG&E afuera que no sea lo que uso? So outside of what you use, there's usually some kind of a minimal usage fee from PG&E. There's usually, like if you have gas in your home, that won't change. There's a maintenance fee that PG&E charges. I think it's pretty small, but that's kind of what you can expect. PG&E still maintains the line, so they're still the owners of the line, so they have that. That's part of it. So, ¿qué tipo de cargos puedo esperar afuera de PG&E de lo que uso? So, siempre va a tener un bill, aunque sea pequeño, de PG&E. Si usted usa gas en su casa, eso no cambia. So, eso, si usted usa gas, eso todavía va a tener una parte de su bill que cubre eso. También PG&E, hay un cobro pequeño que cada persona tiene que pagar, es básicamente para dar mantenimiento a las líneas, para cualquier otra cosa que tenga que ver con con las líneas. Eso es lo más importante.
Yeah, so what it looks like is they charge you about $5, like that minimum charge every month if you have the care program, and about $10 a month if you don't have the care program.
You want to say it in Spanish?
Yeah. Y lo que es al mes, ese cargo mínimo, es $5 si tiene el programa de care y $10 si no lo tiene. Es que es pequeño en comparación.
So let's see what the next question is. Do you hold it against the homeowner if you rent out a room in their house? Good question. So la pregunta es si es un problema si el dueño de casa renta a un cuarto. So for this question, this seems like a case-by-case basis. It'd probably be better for you to contact us and set up an appointment. In most circumstances, we just have to count the total income for the house. So if you do rent it out to somebody and they do pay you for it, that in a way is like income. So we just have to make sure that it's counted for it. We just want to make sure that this program goes to the people that need it the most. So si rento un cuarto en mi casa, eso es contado para este programa. So este programa es importante porque este programa es para las personas que ocupan ayuda. So nomás queremos verificar si renta un cuarto a una persona. Queremos que contar como si usted les pagan a ellos, que sea una forma de un ingreso. Pero esta situación es caso por caso. So si está rentando a una persona, yo recomendaría que nos llame a nosotros y nos explique exactamente qué es la situación. Entonces ahí podemos ayudarle. So next question, I live next to a telephone pole. Can you use solar energy panels? So vivo al lado de un teléfono. ¿Puedo usar los paneles solares? I believe so. That shouldn't be an issue. Again, that is something that we could probably figure out, once you apply and stuff. But that's when we do the construction site visit. We'll look at all those things and see if there's any issues. But normally that wouldn't be a problem. All right, let me get to the other question. All right. It says something about somebody not seeing their own screen. So the question is, so I wouldn't own the solar panels, but I would have them on my roof for 25 years. What happens after the 25 years? Does someone come and pick them up? So la pregunta es, so si yo no soy dueño de mis paneles solares y están en mi techo, ¿qué pasa después de los 25 años? So this is a great question. And I think there's a couple of other questions very similar to that one. At the end of the 25 years, so we basically prepay everything for you for 25 years, all the savings, all the guaranteed production. So you don't have to do anything. At the end of the 25 years, Sunrun basically, and this is what we can go over, on a one by one when you do your visit with the coordinator. But basically at the end of the 25 years, what we recommend to our clients, the people that we've helped out, is basically just tell Sunrun no. But you don't want to continue the program. You don't want to continue the contract for another 25 years. Since we've already prepaid for that for you, at the end of the 25 years, you can tell Sunrun no. Sunrun comes, they take down the system, and they patch everything like nothing ever happened. And that's it. You can also have an option to purchase or renew the lease, but that's something that you would have to work out with Sunrun. So esta pregunta es, si yo no soy dueño de mis paneles solares y los paneles están en mi techo, ¿qué pasa después de los 25 años? So después de los 25 años, como nosotros, Grid paga por usted por la producción y el uso de todos los paneles por los 25 años, después de los 25 años, lo que nosotros recomendamos a nuestras familias que les ayudamos es que cuando llegue Sunrun y les dice qué quieren hacer, usted diga, ¿sabes qué? Está bien, el ahorro ya lo tuve, no quiero aplicar para otro contrato. Como ese contrato ya no sería con nosotros, entonces usted básicamente le dice, ¿sabes qué? Ya no quiero continuar. La compañía Sunrun básicamente quita los paneles solares y repara su techo para que no haya ningún problema con su techo. También tiene la opción, si le gustan los paneles después de 25 años, si quieren renovar el contrato, entonces es algo que usted tiene que arreglar con Sunrun. Pero nosotros siempre recomendamos que después de los 25 años, usted le diga que no quieren continuar con otro acuerdo. Y no hay ningún costo para este programa. Okay, good questions. Keep them coming if you have any. So I'm going to move on to the next one. So would it make sense for me to buy a battery? So si quiero comprar un sistema de batería, ¿es bueno? Yeah, that's a really good question, but that's something that since we don't put on the batteries, that's something that we wouldn't feel comfortable advising on you. There's certain situations where it might be applicable, but since our programs are no cost, some of those programs are still being rolled out. So it really depends. It's on a case-by-case basis. So la pregunta es si me conviene poner un sistema de batería. En este momento, nuestros sistemas no incluyen baterías. Y como no incluyen baterías, nosotros no le podemos dar ningún consejo sobre eso. En unas situaciones sí conviene poner baterías, en otras no. Sería algo que necesitamos un poquito más información para decirle. So another one, have there been cases through grid where the setup ends up costing the homeowner more money because of the solar? So esta pregunta es, ¿hay algunas situaciones con el programa de grid donde el dueño de casa paga más por el sistema de lo que ahorraría en su sistema solar? So yeah, this is a good question. For the most part, I would say not. Before there's any cost to you or anything like that, this is why it's really important to do a site visit. We do an estimate of how much you're going to be saving. And again, all of our labor, there's the warranties, there's all those things that back up what we do. So there's not in a situation where it would cost you more. Obviously, if there's something not working with your system, it could cost more, but that's something that, again, you can monitor every month. And there's also different ways that you can monitor these systems so that doesn't happen. So la pregunta es si hay una forma donde a algunos clientes les ha costado más usando este programa de lo que ahorran por el sistema solar. So normalmente no tenemos ese problema. Tenemos garantías de nuestro trabajo, tenemos diferentes formas de cómo monitorear su sistema para que no haya ningún costo. También cuando vamos a hacer la cita de construcción, miramos que toda su casa esté trabajando correctamente para que no haya ninguna sorpresas. So normalmente no hay un costo. So vamos a mirar a la próxima pregunta. Will there be a delivery charge? So hay un cargo para recibir la energía. So that's part of that small minimal fee that you're always going to have from PG&E. So as long as your system is tied to the grid, you will have that small delivery charge. But basically, whatever your panels produce first goes to your home, and then that's anything after that is a credit. So la pregunta es si hay un cargo pequeño para recibir energía. Y sí, siempre hay un cargo pequeño de PG&E que cobran, que básicamente es para mantener su sistema, pero como le platicamos, lo que producen sus paneles primero llega a su casa, y después de eso, cualquier exceso que no esté usando usted se va a la red en forma de crédito. Okay, otra pregunta. I saw on one of your map graphics that grid has in fact installed solar in El Sobrante part of Richmond outside of the red zone. So esta pregunta es, miro que grid ha instalado en El Sobrante, que es parte de Richmond en la zona que está fuera de la zona roja. So I'm not sure exactly which graphic you mentioned. We do install in very, very, very rare occasions, we install outside of them, but for the most part, we install only in red zones. In previous years, that actual zone was a little bit different, so that could be a reason for it, but we mainly only work in the areas that are designated red on that map. So esta pregunta es, si Grid instala los sistemas solares en partes afuera de Richmond que no están en la zona roja. En ocasiones raras, sí instalamos, pero no es muy frecuentemente. También en el pasado la área roja era poquito diferente. So teníamos algunos proyectos que ahorita están afuera del área roja, pero tal vez en años anterior estaban en el área roja. Pero la mayoría de veces nomás instalamos en zonas que están en el mapa rojas. So, otra pregunta. What happens if I repair my roof before the 25 years are up? So, otra pregunta es, ¿qué pasa si necesito reemplazar mi techo después de los 25 años? So, yeah, this is a very good question. This is another reason why we do a site visit. We try to make sure that when we install your system, you have at least roughly a little bit more than 10 years left on your roof. We do different calculations, but in theory, after the 10 years of having your system installed, you should have, if you're energy conscious, enough money to basically deinstall the system and replace it. So the first 10 years, if for some reason you have to change your roof, then in the first 10 years, Grid basically goes out to your home, takes down the system, you can have your person do the re-roof, and then we install it back again. After the 10 years, then that's where that cost would come out of you. So, la pregunta otra vez es, si tengo que reemplazar mi techo antes de los 25 años, ¿qué pasa? So, los primeros 10 años, si tiene su sistema, nosotros podemos quitar el sistema y ponerlo para atrás sin costo. Eso es lo muy importante de cuando vamos a hacer las citas en las casas. Nuestros paneles tratamos de que su techo sea bueno. Queremos que usted ahorre dinero y en los primeros 10 años, si necesita reemplazarlo, nos puede decir a nosotros. Después de los 10 años, ojalá que si no usa tanta energía y con nuestros paneles, haya ahorrado suficiente dinero para que usted pueda pagar para un reemplazo del sistema y ponerlo para atrás. Otra vez, siempre tratamos de nomás poner techos que están buenos. Si miramos que su techo no va a durar tanto tiempo, nosotros le podemos recomendar diferentes programas que le pueden ayudar con el reemplazo de su techo. So, otra pregunta, another question. I'm a senior. What will happen to my solar contract if I have to live in a long-term healthcare complex? So, una pregunta es, soy una persona de tercera edad. ¿Qué pasa con mi contrato si tengo que vivir en una casa de cuidado? So this is a very good question. So basically, how we install our programs, even though we do it with you, it stays on your house. So the same thing applies. So if you were to not live there, basically the system stays with your house. So even if you sell the house or if you transfer it to somebody else, that system stays on that roof for 25 years. If you need to do anything with it or replace it, you basically just have to let Sunrun know. So then they can transfer all the benefits to the next person. So that's pretty similar to, so if you were needing some long-term health care at a complex, that the same situation would apply. It would stay with your house. So la pregunta es, si necesito vivir en otra área y soy una persona de tercera edad, ¿qué pasa con el acuerdo? So, el acuerdo básicamente es entre nosotros, usted y Sunrun. El acuerdo pone los paneles en su casa. Si por cualquier razón, tiene que, ya no puede vivir allí o vende su casa, como en esa situación, el sistema se queda con la casa. Usted básicamente tiene que nomás avisarle a Sunrun que usted ya no va a vivir allí o hay otra persona que se va a encargar de ese sistema y todos los beneficios que nosotros le dimos a usted en su casa, esos beneficios se transfieren a la próxima dueño de la casa o a la persona que se queda con la casa. Okay, another question is there a charge for uninstalling and reinstalling covered by Grid Sunrun? So la pregunta es si hay un cargo para instalar y reinstalar el sistema parte de Grid or Sunrun. So in the first 10 years, Grid covers it. If there's any reason why the system needs to be reinstalled and uninstalled, most cases it's just like a roof, then Grid takes care of it. After that, then yeah, you would have to pay somebody to deinstall the system. But again, this is why we do the site visits, so we make sure that you have enough life on your roof. So la pregunta es, ¿hay un cargo para instalar y reinstalar el sistema que es cubrido por Grid y por Sunrun? So nosotros nomás cubrimos por instalar y reinstalar su sistema por los primeros 10 años. So esto pasa la mayoría de veces es que si una persona necesita reemplazar su techo dentro de los primeros 10 años. So si es entre los primeros 10 años, Grid Alternatives cubre ese costo por reemplazar. Nosotros vamos a su casa, se lo quitamos y se lo ponemos si necesita reemplazar su techo. Después de los 10 años, si necesita quitar su sistema por cualquier razón, entonces es algo que tiene que mirar usted y tiene que avisarle a Sunrun. Y eso sería un cargo que usted toma. So another question. These are great questions. Yeah, please, keep coming in, keep asking them. I think we only have a couple more minutes left, but we can always help you out. So I'm going to go on to the next one. So what happens with the system if I sell my property? So, ¿qué pasa con mi sistema si vendo mi propiedad? So this is a great question. And like I mentioned earlier, nothing really happens in terms of like the system. If you want to sell your house, which, people that we've helped out before, they sold their homes before. Basically what happens is all the benefits that you have, they would just be transferred on to the new homeowner. The only thing is that since Sunrun owns the system, you just have to let Sunrun know that you're planning on selling the home. That way, those benefits go on and stay with the home. But it's pretty simple. So, ¿qué pasa con mi sistema si vendo mi propiedad? So, como dijimos anteriormente, el sistema se queda con la casa. Se queda con la casa. Si usted quiere venderlo, ya tenemos a familias que hemos ayudado en el pasado que sí, algún día, por cualquier razón, quieren moverse de la área. El sistema se queda con la casa. Usted lo único que tiene que hacer es avisar a Sunrun que va a vender su casa. Lo que hace es Sunrun transfiere los beneficios y los acuerdos a la próxima persona y no hay cargo ni ningún costo para este programa como nosotros ya lo pagamos. Ok, parece que miré otra pregunta. I think I see some more questions. Let me get them out. Estas preguntas son de Facebook. So the next couple of questions are on Facebook. So, can the solar be installed on an ADU dwelling? So nuestros sistemas pueden ser instalados en un ADU. Básicamente el ADU es como un cuarto adicional o otro cuarto que no sea parte de la casa originalmente. Yeah, this is a very good question. Yeah, and it probably, I think it really depends on the ADU unit and if it's, permitted and so on and so forth. For that specific question, I would probably ask probably have you call in and sit down with us so we can go over that part. So si tiene una pregunta, si podemos instalar en un cuarto adicional o algo pequeño que no sea parte de la casa, es algo muy específico. Yo recomendaría que nos llame a nosotros y podemos hablar un poquito más de esa situación. Porque ya puede ser complejo o puede ser simple. So there's another question on here. So hay una pregunta, I think so another question is, I think I was installed in a previous years when the area and guidelines were different. I think they were larger. So la pregunta es, parece que me instalaron mi sistema cuando los requisitos eran poquitos diferentes y sí. Yeah, so some of the guidelines, they change every year. The income guidelines change every year. And same thing with some of the disadvantage, the red zones in the map, they also change periodically. The California Public Utilities Commission, the CPUC, they're basically the ones that administer the program, and they let us know what guidelines we should use. So before it was a little bit more flexible in some of the areas, but currently what we showed on the map earlier that's what they are. If you have any questions about them, then you can always reach out to us, and we would love to help you, work through any questions that you might have. So las áreas, antes eran poquito, los requisitos eran poquitos diferentes. Los ingresos eran poquitos más altos. Las áreas donde podíamos instalar era poquito diferente. So estos requisitos vienen del Estado. Básicamente es la parte del gobierno que administra a todos los sectores de energía. So, cuando PG&E tiene un problema, esta comisión de energía, ellos son los mismos que nos dan los requisitos para este programa. Antes eran poquito más flexibles, pero en este momento los requisitos son como mencionamos antes. Si tienen preguntas, nos pueden llamar. En muchas ocasiones podemos ayudarles. Nomás lo único que tiene que hacer es llamarnos y hacer una cita. So another question, I think this might have been addressed already, but if someone asked in the chat earlier, if you live in a home and rent out rooms, do you count that income as well? So esta pregunta parece que ya la contestamos antes, pero si rentas cuartos en tu casa, también tienes que contar el ingreso. So this is a very, very specific question. And yeah, I don't want to say yes or no. We just need to count if the rental, if you get some money from that, we need to count that as some type of an income. But for this specific questions about counting and not counting the income for rooms that you rent out, I would suggest calling and just setting up an appointment, because there can be a lot of different scenarios where you might need to count, and other scenarios where you might not. So this one, I definitely recommend, if you are this person, reach out to the number below, and we can go over different scenarios of how that works. So la pregunta era, si rento cuartos en mi casa, ¿tengo que contar esos ingresos? So esta pregunta es poquito, no es simple. Lo que queremos hacer es que si tiene un tipo de ingreso que sea contado para este programa, y hay unas situaciones donde sí tiene que contar ese ingreso que recibe, pero es una situación que en otros escenarios tal vez no tengan que contarlos. Yo lo que recomendamos cuando hay preguntas así que están un poquito más complejas es que nos llamen, nos expliquen exactamente la situación, y así podemos darles una respuesta que sea adecuada. So again, for that specific question about the home and the rent and the rooms, just give us a call and just walk us through the different scenario of what you're thinking, because there's a couple different scenarios that I could explain, and it could be a little complicated. So probably talking to somebody on the phone one by one would solve some of these questions. Yeah, I'm gonna turn it back to Shivali. I don't know if there's anything else that you want to say. For us, just thank you very much, and we look forward to helping you out. We've helped out a lot of families, and again, if you don't know anybody, if you don't qualify, just let other people know. And there's those programs that are not as strict with the income qualifications, specifically the ones around transportation. That we any kind of way we can help and give back to the community. And that I will bring it back to Shivali.
Thank you, Juan. Thank you everyone for joining, and I just wanted to let you know that this workshop will be up on richmondenvironment.org in about a week if you would like to come back to it and refer to it. Thank you so much for joining. We really appreciate it. Hope you have a great rest of the week. Thank you, everybody.